Peace fam, PA Finley, thePafWay, coming at you live. I always say coming at you live and everybody, man, it's a recording. You ain't live. Oh, y'all better believe I am live. More live than I've ever been in my life. Live, representing life, representing living. So that's kind of like to break that down when I'm saying that to you. Here we are. This is the senior class. This is part 12, self-science. Here we go. I'm gonna dive right in. So you done your homework. I'm gonna tell you something about that process. If you've done your homework, and let's hope you have, if you have not, pause this video because it's not gonna make too much sense to you. If you've written out your life history, if you went through that process, and since your first memory all the way up until now, you probably got a lot of pages and a lot of scribble and a lot of you got your little notepad I told you to go get, the notebook, and yeah, that's probably filled out. And you know, when you started, you was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm having all this extra pages and extra, I don't know. That thing, you probably wouldn't got another one. I'm just saying. You probably went through the experience of opening up the valve. You probably went through the experience of the hand moving seemingly by itself. You probably went through that experience of here but not here. It just starts to come, the memories, they just, people have written books this way. Autobiographies is pretty much done this way. But just because people have done this process doesn't mean, that part of the process doesn't mean that they've tapped into the self, the wealth thereof. You probably sat there and read it a couple times. I mean, this might be a week later. I don't know. It might be the next day. I don't know. It's different for different people. Some people do it and don't come out until it's done. Some people like take a break. I gotta take a break. I gotta do something else. I gotta get out this room. I gotta get out this house. I got to do something else than this. And that's okay because it's a process. Just understand that when you get back to it and you read a few pages prior to where, all the way up to where you left off, it's gonna kick right back in. So, that being said, I'm gonna pause. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Had a little intermission. One of the people that works here, I'm not gonna talk about where here is, but one of the people who works here just walked through. I told her, say you on video. She's like, really? Like, yeah, but just for a split second though. Probably nobody, it might not even show. But anywho, so excuse me. So, like I said, people have pretty much written books off of this stuff. So you got that stuff on paper. There's a science, by the way. There's a lot of, obviously, as you know, you went through your roller coaster ride of emotions. Obviously, by now, you know that process in and of itself is a healing process. You probably got that by now. There is highlighted in your work a lot of resentments. And see, a lot of stuff we hold when we're young, we hold and don't even go through it as adults, because if we go through some of the stuff some of our history, some of the stuff that we've been through, you know, especially the pain issues, the heartbreaks and the disappointments and all of that, when we go through them as adults, because we're adults now, because 9 times out of 10 it is because of the adults. It was the adults had something to do with our pain, or, you know, and sometimes it's loved ones, or sometimes it's significant others, and, you know, but especially that puppy love thing, and, you know, our first love and all of that stuff, you know, we was hurt. There's a lot of pain. So we hold resentments and we hold grudges. Our viewpoints are pretty much based on this stuff. So when we go through them as adults, we see that these people are just human beings. Because we understand we're human beings, we're adults now, and we see that this stuff, people just was making mistakes. It wasn't personal. We took, everything was personal. And so we took so much stuff personal. And when we do this, man, we look at this stuff, man, and we can start to begin to forgive people. You've already started this process already, just by doing that, and we ain't even got started. So it's a lot of healing and just getting it out. Getting it out of you. Just that alone. Let me take this off. Just that alone is refreshing, and you feel lighter. So you've probably done a lot of crying. I'm telling you, the roller coaster ride, you're gonna go through. But this is good because you need that roller coaster ride. Come on, man. Y'all know, by now you should know you needed that. What you just did, you can say right now today, I needed to do that, probably earlier. But don't trip on that, because it's done. You've done it. And a lot of stuff has popped up to mind. You had to go back, right on the sides. I'm telling you, obviously, you know I know what I'm talking about, you know. So, now we're gonna go, this is what C.G. Jung was trying to communicate to the people. He was going way above everybody's heads with it, except, you know, this is what his mentor, Sigmund Freud, Adler, and them, all of these guys is talking about, and ladies, because there was a lady, I can't remember her name, but she was deep, she got into it. This is all what they're talking about, this process of trying to disseminate this reality we live in inwardly, and the relationship between the two. They was tapping in early on, but they couldn't. They was before their time, in a sense. Actually, it was perfect timing for them and where they were and what they was teaching. People was receiving. There was individuals who was getting it. I was one of them. But it was, you know, my boy C.G. Jung, man, he took himself out because he couldn't get it, he couldn't explain it, kind of like the way I am. If he was here today, he'd have been like, man, yes, that's it. You know what I'm saying? But the time, it's all about time, you know, and now's the time. It's just, now is the time. So, one of the things I forgot to mention in my last video, 2 videos, when I was talking about mythology and the dragon and the hero and this little thing taking out this big giant thing, and I told you about the illusion, because see, that's what it is. The hero finally recognized that there's an illusion, that the dragon is not real. And so what he's doing, the hero or heroine, what they're doing is they're battling in their mind. They're tearing down the wall of the illusion. They're tearing down the painting, as it were, and revealing the true enemy behind it. And as it turns out, it's not the enemy, it's themselves. So now the child, I was talking about the child, and we're going to tap into that in this video. The child that I was talking about, that is you, that has been left behind. Understand, none of this is your fault. Nobody, see, that's another thing. It's a lot of guilt. Obviously, if you've done your homework, you'll see there's a lot of stuff that you feel really bad about. And one of the main things is going to be leaving your child behind, the inner you. But don't feel bad. I'm gonna speak on that guilt factor in a minute. But I just want to complete this. I want to add this on, and then we're gonna move on. The child, in representation of mythology, in representation of the movies that you connect with, the superhero movies, the touchy-feely movies with the man coming back to get his woman and all of that, and especially to the ladies, you guys really, really, really love that kind of stuff, which is good. And we, as us guys who's going through this process, we love it too now. We get it now. So this is good stuff. This is the masculine embracing the feminine, and the feminine embracing the masculine in a healthy and natural way. I'm not going. There's some points I can touch on, some points I can't. I'll leave alone. I stay in my lane. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it 100. There's plenty of people that talk about different things, and I let them, they masters, I let them deal with what they deal with. I stay in my lane. So, the child is representative of the damsel in distress. The Princess Leia, if you will, of Star Wars. That is the child. We must rescue the child. The hero or heroine, the Rey as of today, must now go into the darkness and go and battle the evil Darth Vader. And you see what I'm saying? All this is mythology. And all of this is our ancestors. You can say that. You can communicate the higher power. Whatever the source is communicating to you, the process that you are. Letting you know, and it's almost like information being like love, like the chicken, the hen, protecting and warming the eggs, okay? And there's communication. She's sending messages to the eggs within as they're going through their process. She's sending messages and communicating to them that I got you, don't worry about nothing, I got your back. This is just a process. What you're experiencing and going through, because within that eggshell, within that cocoon, that process is life. And believe me, there's consciousness there, there's awareness, there's stuff that's happening, and it's like, oh, why is life so crazy? There's all of that going on within the eggshell. So that's our higher power, us, the source, the ancestors, the loved ones, those who have been through this process before, their assistance, but they're backed and supported by the source itself. So it's really the source using them as tools to communicate to us throughout humanity's existence on Earth. By the way, this can be viewed. See, now we'll have a different picture of human history. See, when we go through this process, everything is going to change. Everything is going to look different. And the way it's going to seem, it's going to seem like you'll understand things way better. You'll get it. You'll get stuff very quickly. You know what I'm saying? So, but the child, that we're going to be going back to go get. You are now the hero. You're going to save yourself. You're now the hero or the heroine. You are that, and the child is the prince or princess that has been captured, and that there's this dragon that you got to go through to protect it. I mean, not to protect it, but that is defending the child. You see, it's saying you got to go through me in order to get the child. That's what it's saying. Or they go through me to get the princess, or go through me to get the prince, or go through me to get that precious thing that you'll go through to any length to obtain. And so this begins the story. You have just laid down the foundation for that story when you was writing down your history. And so now we're going to go, and as it turns out, there's a number of princes and princesses that we're going to go rescue. Because we talked about in the last video, the first shock. The key word to that is first. There's been numerous of shocks all the way up until now. And each one of those shocks are while you proceeded on, that other part of you stayed because it hasn't been addressed. That part of you doesn't understand what happened. It doesn't get it. But life goes on, so life went on, but they're still wondering what the heck just took place. And then, so we're going to go back all the way to the first, and we're going to walk all the way up, and we're going to say, hey, this is okay. There it is. Back, come here. Sorry, we got to apologize to self. We got to forgive self. That part of you will forgive you if you come and holler. You got to holler though. You can't just, all right, man, I'm sorry about that. Gotta go now. No. The key to this is obviously you're not gonna want to leave behind. You already done that. You've been there and done that. You know what leaving behind is. So abandonment issues. This is what that's about. You're gonna go back, do the forgiveness thing, make amends, grab them, hold them, love them, and come on up. And then what's going to happen is every time that you touch one, reach one, explain to them what happened. It's a process. Because they don't know. You don't know. You have to talk to yourself. I'm sorry. I know they said... See, you're going to find out everything is pretty much in reverse. What they tell you that you shouldn't have never done, you should have always done. It's just, and what they tell you should do, you should stop doing. It's literally a reversal of what's going on. So I triple. I'm serious. Let me tell you something. My program, my program is now when the powers that be, media, or whatever, tells me something, now today, I just reverse it. I tell you, that's because that's the way it's been ever since I went through this process. Everything's in reverse. So I'm just like, okay, let's reverse and flip it. What's the other side? I at least look at the other side. That's the reason why each story has two sides, and we are encouraged to view both sides of the story before we start making decisions. You see, you gotta, what they said that person did, he was wrong because whoop, and he shouldn't have done that, and this is what we should do. Well, wait a minute. Let's go talk to dude. Well, that don't make no sense. I just told you. I understand what you just told me. I want to hear what he just told me. Is that okay? Because otherwise, it's trickery involved. See, if you're not encouraged that I go and check in with the other party and get both sides of the story, now I'm looking at you suspect. It's something you don't want me to know, or something, you ain't talking. Hey, come on. Everybody know when we get to talking about what happened to us, when we play the victim role, we be putting 1,000 on it. Come on. Let's keep it 100. That's what we do here at the PafWay channel. Y'all know that when you put it, it was wrong. What he did was whoop the whoop, and what she did, and they, what they did. Yeah, okay, but what'd you do? I was just standing there. Come on, man. Why y'all? See, by now, this is where we're going. We're tapping into the truth. We're about to start representing the truth. When something happens to me, Pierre, P-A Finley, the PafWay, when something comes to me, and then stuff happens, boom, something takes place, it's important for me today to represent the truth. It's important for me to say, hey, they did this and they did that. I believe they was wrong, but this is how I participated. This is how this is the role that I played in the whole scenario. I'm gonna come with both sides of the coin. I'm just gonna let you 100 because I represent that today. Either that or I shut the heck up. See, I have a choice. I just take the blow and keep it moving and understand it's a part of karma, it's a part of the process, it's part of life. I'm going to accept my blows and keep it moving. I have a choice. If I get to yelling and screaming and crying foul, then I got to represent the whole picture. Stop constantly putting out these half pictures. Okay, so we got an understanding now. We got an understanding now that the child is, and let me use the Star Wars. Everybody's familiar with Star Wars, so I'm gonna universalize this. The child's representing the Princess Leia. Darth Vader is the Godzilla, the image that we painted. Because again, we've abandoned Leia. We left Leia behind, and we kept living and kept doing what we're doing. And so, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys too. So this is a little bit of the negative part of this process, but it's nothing. That part of you has created Darth Vader. That part of you has created Godzilla. And let me pause. Okay, I'm back. Getting right into it. That part of you that is the child has created the Darth Vader, that created the dragon, created the Godzilla, created it throughout the course of time, through feelings of abandonment towards you. It went through its process. Okay, shock. Okay, what the heck is going on? Okay, you're going to continue living and not get this answer? And not explain what's happening? All right, well, we're going then. And then years upon years is resentment and resentment and the image and the monster and all of that is that wall is getting higher and higher and further apart. So, and the hero, the heroine, the Luke Skywalker, the Rey, is you. That's what we're doing here. That's what this, your history, studying of your own history, your own personal history. That's what we're doing here. And this is good because you can always come back to this and update it and put some extra stuff and remember some stuff that, oh man, I gotta put this. So, and then you can just go back and just read this every once in a while, every year or so, just, and just reconnect. Just, you get too crazy with the world or whatever, you can always go back to this and get that juice. So that whole setting is you and what this process is we're doing right now. So all that being said, okay, I'm trying to make sure that I'm staying on point. Okay, so the shot, okay, so we go back to your first shot. The first one is the most important. You gotta go back to the first one. Well, there's a number of first shocks, you know, even in the womb, there were some shocks. Because whatever your mother was experiencing, you was kind of experiencing too. So, but we can do that later. That's like, you know, college level stuff. So, you know, but this is the necessary stuff. When you come out the womb, obviously there's the spanking, that's shocking. But coming out the womb itself is shocking. A lot of that stuff is shocking. But they're not upfront memories though. We're dealing with the upfront memories that you can connect with. You recorded everything since you've been conceived. But we're really talking, that's the subconscious. You got, there's some techniques, again, that's college level stuff. And we'll tap into that. I'll make some videos on that about what we need to do to tap into the subconscious and then bring out this unconscious content that Jung and Freud and Adler and all the rest of them is talked about so freaking much. And we'll get into that later. But we're just focusing right now on the ones that pop up in your head, which makes them conscious. That's what come to your conscious, unconscious, you know, subconscious. Subconscious is stuff that's down below that you can't, you know, that's not available. Well, it's available, but it's not forthcoming. They don't just pop up in your mind as soon as you make the thought, I want to remember something, you know. But the conscious awareness factor pops up, the memories, those are the easiest ones to highlight, and that's what we're dealing with now. So that your first memory, not just the harsh ones, the good ones, everything. You know, all of it is good stuff. I hope I really didn't pay too much attention to that. But I'm hoping that you ain't got to hold all your negative stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh. But we can work with that. Okay, I'm not. We can work with that. But you know, it's everything. I think I highlighted that a few times. I'm hoping I did. If I didn't, we're gonna deal with what you got. But we want some of the good stuff too. I'm hoping that that point got across some kind of way. I'm just gonna assume it did. But we are gonna highlight the negatives, the so-called negatives. And every time we highlight one, after the highlighting of it and going through the process of the child and embracement, the love, and the grabbing of the hand, and let's go. After that, you'll find out that situation wasn't negative at all. It's a tag we put on it to shut the door. But that's a different story. So, we go back to your first. The first is very important. Your first shocking experience is very important. We need to get that one. If you're looking at your paperwork now, and I'm hoping that you are, I hope you have it out. You know, I know you're looking at me, but let's look at your paperwork for a second. Let's go back to the beginning, your original memory. Let's go all the way back to the very first page, the very first thought you wrote down. And this is like maybe a page before the valve is tapped. Or half a page, or whatever it took to get you. This is like the beginning. This is when you was very nervous, didn't know exactly what to do, but you went forward and you said, well, this is the first thing I can remember, and you started writing. Okay, that one. We gotta go from there to your first shocking experience. I don't know exactly what that is for you. Each one of us is a little bit different, but they're kind of like the same. Whatever that first shocking experience was, I want you to imagine yourself going through it again. And what you're going to do is you're going to communicate, because you're not that today. You're this today, but you kind of are that as well. So I want you to separate. I want you to look at this as if you're looking at that child going through that experience. And then I want you to communicate to the child some information. And this is the information I want you to communicate to that child. Once you've made contact, once you have that vision. Remember, imagination. It's all in there. So, simply communicate to the child. First of all, apologies. Let's start it off with an apology. I'm sorry. Listen, this is going to be some emotional stuff. You're not going to get around it. You've already went through the emotional stuff once, but you feel better about it. You know that there's healing process and all of this thing that you're doing. So just understand that the further we go along with this, the more healing is going to take place. The better off you're going to be. And you believe me, just understand. This is going to be awesome for you. Okay? The first shot is you must first apologize for leaving them. And then explain to them that I had no choice in the matter. But I'm back, I'm here, I'm coming to get you. We're gonna ride off into the sunset. This is the rescuing part. This is when you've already defeated the dragon. Because you've got to this part, the dragon's been defeated. The enemy, the monster, whatever that is, that thing is standing around with his tongue out. And all it is you tearing down that image. Is you going beyond, that's all it is, the projection. Remember we talked about eyes and all that kind of stuff. So, by now you're at the cage where the damsel is in distress, where she needs to be saved, or him, or whoever it is to you. And this is the point where you break open the gate and finally do that hug thing in the movies. And the big, everything. Everybody's like, woohoo! Yeah, this is you. You do the embrace, and they don't really tell you about the storyline after, when they're taking and walking off with their sons. They don't tell you about that conversation they have. You might see, the lady hit the guy on the shoulder. What you doing? Why you leave me? Why, there's some stuff, some communicate. And then what you're going to be doing is just explaining to them what's going on. Update them. Give them the update of what's happening and what's going on.